Hello and welcome to the Fostering Success Michigan webinar series. Today we are starting our webinar series, Getting to Know Higher Education, the FSM Higher Education Consortium. My name is Maddie Day and I'm the Director of Outreach and Training for the Center for Fostering Success at Western Michigan University. Before we get started, I'd like to say a special thank you to our funders, the Kresge Foundation, the Havermill Foundation, and Western Michigan University for their continued support of the Fostering Success Michigan statewide initiative. The focus of this webinar series is on the Fostering Success Michigan Higher Education Consortium. This group of 17 campus-based support programs, which you can see their logos here on the screen, has some common components that we'd like to highlight. These include designated campus coaching, 24/7 life skills coaching, access to mentorship opportunities, peer community building opportunities, connection to campus champions in key departments like financial aid, advising, and residence life, advocacy for students on campus and in the community, pre-college outreach and recruitment, and lastly, financial resources. You'll note that we have an asterisk by financial resources because while all of the programs have some element of financial resources, it's very important that you look into what each program has and how that might suit your needs as a student and understand what not just the program has, but also the post-secondary institution has to support you in your education to career journey. Today, we're speaking with the Transition to Independence program from Wayne State University. And I would like to say a special welcome to Erica Buford. Hi, Erica, how are you?
Hi, Maddie, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for joining us today.
And thank you for having us.
Awesome. And as you'll see on the screen, we do have Erica's contact information. This will also be available at the end of the webinar. So let's dive right in. Many people have probably heard about the Transition to Independence program at Wayne State, but it's always important to understand kind of the unique requirements, eligibility, and resources at each program. And so Erica, everybody can see on the screen some of the general eligibility requirements, but I'm hoping you can speak a little bit to these requirements, also speak to some other resources that might be available for students who may not meet these requirements, and then lastly, speak to how a student who's either on campus and interested in participating in the TIP program or a prospective student might communicate with you to let you know that they're interested in the program.
Yes, I would love to. First, what qualifies a youth to participate in the TIP program is their involvement in the child welfare system. And our definition of that is any youth who's experienced foster care on or after their 14th birthday, and that can be even one day after their 14th birthday. If you were in foster care after that date, you are eligible for our program. We also extend eligibility to those who have been adopted on or after their 16th birthday, and so if you found a family that adopted you and you are still interested in the program and that adoption happened after your 16th birthday, then you are still qualified to participate in TIP Wayne State. Students are also eligible to reapply for every year up to 6 years, and we will provide support in some capacity to you until you reach higher education. We also would like to let the audience know that TIP has extended eligibility to include those with juvenile justice history and also those with dual ward status. And so what that means is that you're involved in the foster care system and sometime in your juvenile history you had some kind of criminal record and was involved in the juvenile justice system. We will extend support to you as well. And more information about that new leg of TIP will be available as early as fall of 2017. And so we're looking forward to expanding, opportunities to all youth who fall into child welfare and other special programs.
I also really great to know. I just not to interrupt you, but I just
no problem.
People who are listening, I think that makes a very unique feature of the TIP program and something to definitely take note, because I know often students who come in, under the juvenile justice system or have a dual award status, sometimes don't meet the eligibility requirements for other programs. So it's
Yes.
a really fantastic expansion of your eligibility. So, and I'll let you continue. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We recognize that that's a population that isn't getting as many services as they deserve. They also deserve an opportunity to achieve higher education, and so we're trying to do our best to support that population as well. We recognize that sometimes, even in your pursuit of higher education, that there may be programs like ours that slip through the cracks, or you may not find out about us until it's too late. But the good thing about TIP is that we will allow you to apply to our program before the age of 26. So if you don't start college immediately after high school and want to take a couple years off and decide to come back later, TIP is willing to accept older youth who are interested in higher education. So that's something else to note. Um, Lastly, there are a few other opportunities to get support services from Wayne State University that may not necessarily come directly from TIP Wayne State. We have what we call the Apex Scholars program. And what that does is for youth who don't meet general Wayne State requirements, they can be admitted through a bridge program, which will allow them to build on those remedial education and get you qualified for Wayne State through general admissions after the summer bridge program. And so if for some reason you are not eligible immediately to apply to Wayne, that may be an option for you to join. And we also have a great partnership with Wayne County Community College SMARTS program for those who wanted to start with an associate's and eventually transfer to receive a four-year degree. We have been working closely with that program as well to help that transition to be as smooth as possible. One way youth can help to identify themselves as foster youth or having a foster care history is the FAFSA. Many of you may know or may not know that applications are due around October 1st, and on those applications there's a box that can be checked that indicates foster care history. That is one of the key indicators that allows our financial aid and admissions department to notify us of youth with foster care history. So it's important to self-disclose so we can be able to better serve you. And so that's one of the major things we want you to know. If you don't answer that question, then we have a hard time finding out who you are and providing you with a lot of the great services that TIP has to offer. So we just encourage you to self-disclose, and we can help you be a part of our program.
Awesome. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. I mean,
no
you
problem.
covered just such a great breadth of information about your program and also sort of the um, kind of wraparound connections that you offer that I think
Yes,
for many students who might be looking at Wayne State but not really sure if they're able or ready to start at a four-year institution, knowing that there's the Apex Scholars Program. So offering the
yes,
summer bridge, knowing that you have this very close connection with the SMART program. And so the ability to transfer is available to them, and that there's a lot of support kind of through that process, and it sounds like both through the Apex process and through the process with the SMART program. So any anxiety that there might be in kind of navigating the world of transferring or just transitioning in, if you're not really familiar with a four-year college campus, you guys, it sounds like you guys really come alongside the students to support them through that process.
definitely. We definitely do so.
Yeah, and I think just the other piece that I wanted to highlight is this piece about applying before age 26, and that's another unique facet to the TIP program at Wayne State, and just that folks understand that, for many programs, there are age limits, but with your expanded eligibility requirement that you really are open and readily supporting quite a diverse array of students, and a population of students, like you said, who maybe returning to education after taking a few years off and sorting out, what they really want their education goals to be. So that's just really fantastic, I think, for folks to know all of
Hmm.
the benefits that are available and the collaborations that you have on campus and the greater community.
Yes.
So let's talk about some fun. These are some
Okay.
excellent pictures, and we
Thank
would
you.
love to hear some highlights about tips. So some of the, unique things, you shared some unique things about eligibility, but once students are in the program, what are some activities that you all do? What are some resources and support that are available through the TIP program?
Okay, sure. In addition to the different supports that Maddie highlighted about the different campus support programs, TIP also provides care packages, and in that top picture in the will be your left-hand corner. That is a picture of one of our staff. Her name is Megan, passing out care packages to the different students at our annual Warrior Dinner. And our Warrior Dinner is a student-led, organized event that helps to highlight the accomplishments of the students throughout the semester. It gives them a break either right before finals or right after, celebrates the graduates and gives them opportunity to come and get some free stuff that they need. Those care packages generally include toiletries, laundry soap, feminine and male hygiene products. There's some food and snacks. We try to give out school supplies, gift cards. Our donors really step up for our youth that participate in that program, and usually students are lugging away big baskets of items at those events. And so that's one thing that we love about TIP. Our students love about TIP as well, and so we try to continue that on every year. We also have a food pantry in our office, which also serves as a drop-in center for students. And so once they come in and visit, they can come just sit, take a nap in between classes, print out homework, get counseling from the staff, or coaching as we like to call it. We also, they can shop in our food pantry, also get toiletries out of the that closet as well. And we also provide fresh produce on a biweekly basis. And so for unfortunately, Detroit has been a food desert, and so sometimes it's hard to get to different grocery stores that maybe have the best quality fresh produce. And so we've partnered with Whole Foods and the Eastern Market to provide fresh fruits and vegetables for our students who want to eat healthy, want to try different recipes, and have more food that they don't have to spend money out of their own pocket to obtain. And so we definitely enjoy providing that resource to students. In addition to some of those things that we have, we also provide financial assistance up to $5,000 per academic year, and I know that is definitely needed with foster youth. So in addition to some of the other state aid that you qualify for, such as ETV and Fostering Futures and some of the other foster care specific scholarships, we do try to help you out financially. One of our events that's not highlighted in one of these slides is a chili cook-off. We had one in the past that raised money to help raise, money for book scholarships for our students. And we try to think of creative ways each year to raise money to offset some of the cost of books. And so that's something that we've been happy to add to our program and our resources. Last but not least, we have a great advocacy component to our program. We just held our annual Kids Speak event. And in that event, we allow youth to provide testimony regarding their dislikes or what they feel like needs to be changed with the child welfare system. And they have that opportunity to voice that concern before legislators and DHS administrators and those stakeholders that have the power to do something about that. That event has been very successful and helped to implement some changes in child welfare policy related to identity theft and sibling bills and other much needed changes in the foster care system. And so we like to work directly with our students to provide them services, but we also recognize that there's a greater need in the government and policy to improve the lives of youth and who've aged out of the foster care system. So, yeah, that's a few things about TIP.
Yeah, just just a few. You guys aren't busy. No big deal.
No, not at all.
I think what continues to carry through for me is how important collaboration is and how much you guys leverage, the community collaborations to really embrace and support your students. And I love
Hmm.
hearing about the partnership with Whole Foods and the Eastern Market to help provide fresh foods, something that we know for all college students may be a challenge, just, the nature of a college campus and dorm living, but also, in an urban community where it may take several buses to get to
Mm,
a grocery
yes,
store. It really can be a significant challenge. And we know that eating well is a huge part of healthy living and doing well in school. So
indeed.
hearing about that partnership is wonderful. And then also hearing kind of the different ways that you are filling some of those additional needs that students have. So, having the chili cook-off to raise money for book scholarships, understanding that, books are a very significant cost for students,
Hmm.
particularly as students progress and are, upperclassmen, and that you have up to $5,000 available in financial aid support for students in addition to some of the federal and state funds. I think just really helping to ensure that students have as many barriers removed in their education journey as possible. And
Indeed.
lastly, you guys just do such a great job always raising up the voice of the students that you serve. And I think Kids Speak is a great kind of identifier of that, and that having this event every year really brings in policymakers and influencers from across the state, and then gives students the opportunity to speak to their story, but also really to speak to what they would like to see changed. And so as
Exactly.
they, are kind of doing their own personal transformation in higher education, they're able to, really give back and also advocate for some of their younger brothers and sisters in foster care. So it's,
Yes,
I think such an important facet of the work, and we talk about, advocacy opportunities, and they take all sorts of different forms with all the programs, but, the Kids Speak event, I think, is really such a great example of kind of a continued effort to ensure that student voice doesn't get lost kind of in the midst of the larger political dialogue.
exactly. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. Thank you for sharing. So
No
we've heard
problem.
a lot about the TIP program. So I'm wondering if you could tell us what is special about Wayne State University.
Sure. So there's a lot special about Wayne State University, but I'll just highlight a few things that are unique about Wayne. We have been deemed Michigan's most diverse campus, and so that means we have students from every state across the United States, and also students from 70 different countries, and so we have a very diverse student body, which um, aids to a diverse learning system. And so we find that unique and special about Wayne State, and our students love the diversity that's on campus. And it goes along with Wayne State's mission of creating and advancing knowledge, but also preparing a diverse student body so they can have a positive impact on both the local and global communities. And so I think Wayne State has been doing a great job of achieving that mission, ensuring that they're not only educating a diverse student body, but that we're spreading that education throughout the world. Um, Wayne also has more than 370 academic programs. 120 of them are graduate programs, and so there's a vast number of opportunities to achieve higher education in all types of disciplines. I won't go over all of them, of course, but I'll just highlight a few that students may want to know about. We have degrees in accounting, African American studies, biological sciences, biomedical engineering, criminal justice, forensic investigation, information systems technology, nursing. By the way, our nursing college has been listed as one of the best graduate schools by the U.S. News report, and so that is a great feature if any student is interested in nursing. Our program is pretty great. We also have programs in public health and social work, and one of the reasons I wanted to highlight social work is that our program is kind of unique in the fact that we're a program within the social work, School of Social Work, and also our staff are also skilled and experienced and also licensed social workers that have history in child welfare as far as working in that system and recognize some of the unique challenges, needs, and also a lot of the great strengths that youth with foster care history have. And so we just wanted to note that. A few other things about Wayne State that you should know. We are in the center of Midtown Detroit, and that's right before you get downtown and right before you smack dab in the middle of the new center area. And what that means is that we're in the hub of technology and innovation. There's a lot of development, entrepreneurial opportunities in downtown, and also economic revitalization that has been a benefit to many of the students in Wayne. We've been able to establish partnerships with different entities in the downtown area, like Quicken Loans. They offer a lot of internships for Wayne State students. There's also a vast number of new restaurants that popped up, and we just added the Q line, which provides another opportunity of transportation around the area. And so Wayne is in the center of all of this development, and that's providing opportunities to our students as well. And last but not least, Wayne has over 400 student organizations, and so if you want to belong to a group other than TIP, in addition to TIP, you have that opportunity. TIP also has a student org, which we also call TIPSO, where our students lead different social events, do community service, and participate in other university activities to get TIP's name out there and to recognize that you know, just because a youth has foster care history does not create some kind of deficit, that they have strengths as well. And so that's a unique feature about Wayne State. Yeah, so that's it.
Wonderful. And again, you know, no small thing there. I think you covered kind of quite a variety and sort of a vast array of things. And I would imagine any student that, you know, is maybe looking at Wayne State as an option is like, oh, I didn't know that there were all of these things. You know, I think the number of degree programs, and particularly, you know, programs that are often of interest to our students, you know, programs in the helping profession, programs with criminal justice, you know, those programs I know are often ones that students are interested in pursuing, and knowing that you know, Wayne State ranks very highly with those programs. I didn't know that about the nursing program. That's fantastic to know. And I think for lots of students, nursing is a very competitive program. So if you're interested in pursuing that, you definitely want to pursue that at a place where you have the kind of holistic support that TIP can offer you as you're making your way through such a rigorous and competitive program.
Definitely.
You know, I think it's great to note the benefits of the location, and often, you know, students that may be coming from other areas across the state, you know, aren't aware about all of the revitalization that has happened, particularly in Midtown. I know the last time I was down there, I was just blown away how much it's changed in just a few years. And I think,
definitely.
You know, every time I go to the Wayne State campus, there's always, you know, activities going on outdoors, and, you know, it being an urban campus, it doesn't feel like there's a huge divide between the community and campus. It very much feels like campus is part of the community, embraced by the community, and that you kind of are able to blend those flavors really nicely within an education experience. Um, and so the last part, I think, just always letting students know that, of course, college is really about exploring your vast interests, your array of
Right.
interests. And so 400 student organizations, I was like, that's a lot. What are they even
Yes, it
talking?
is. Right,
what,
exactly.
what kind of student organizations are there? And so for students to know that there's just probably anything that they're interested in, there's a
Yes,
place
and
for them to find their people.
yes, and one of those of which I'll tell you, so you can get an idea of how different these organizations are. We have a hammock club, and it's just a group of
No.
students who have hammocks and tie them to trees and just hang out on campus. So yeah,
That is
it's something
awesome.
for everyone.
Exactly. Well, and I love that. I mean, I think it really shows that Wayne State is a place where students can go, you can find your people, you can, probably explore things, new interests that you might not have thought about. I would have never thought about a hammock club. Um, and, also have, a really strong group of people. You mentioned the School of Social Work as sort of the housing for the TIP program, and having this strong group of people who are behind you advocating and who do understand that experience of foster care, I think provides just a great springboard for any student looking to make the most of a college experience.
Yeah.
So, want to talk briefly about tuition fees and cost of attendance.
Hmm.
We know that this is an area that often students start to see dollar signs and it becomes very
Hmm.
overwhelming. And so I'm wondering if you could share a little bit about, you mentioned earlier some of the financial resources, but financial resources that are available, support to navigate the financial aspects of college that might be available at Wayne State or through the TIP program. And then any other things that students should know when they're considering Wayne State regarding tuition fees and cost of attendance.
Okay. So as listed on the screen, you have a list of the tuitions, fees by credit hour, and also the cost for campus room and board and books and supplies. And in addition to that support that I spoke about earlier, the $5,000 per academic year that TIP provides, we also are working closely with our fund development office to create new opportunities for scholarships. And in addition to that book scholarship that we discussed, we are also looking at creative ways to attract other populations to our program, and one of which is boys and young men of color. We recognize that there is a lack of enrollment in Wayne County where we have a high percentage of boys and young men of color, and so we're working with different funders to provide some scholarship opportunities to make college more of a reality for youth that belong to that population. And so we work diligently to open up other financial opportunities. As I said, we are always doing fundraisers to help support our students. We also work closely with those entities, as I mentioned before, that provides state and federal aid for foster youth, and so we'll many times help with the ETV application and helping to collect receipts and scan those for you guys and provide that help. We also work closely with Big Family and Bravo of Michigan, who also provides other support for our students, such as startup goods in an apartment or the dorm. I know of several students that they help buy bedding for, and so that can help to offset some of the costs that you need to go to college. We are trying to find creative ways to decrease the amount of financial need for transportation. Transportation is sometimes a difficulty for some of our students, and so we've been able to provide Lyft and Uber sometimes, depending on the circumstances, to students. And so if we can't provide it financially, we try to work or collaborate with some other department that will help to offset some of the costs that are related to the tuition, room, and board, and other expenses that are related to achieving your bachelor's degree.
That's awesome. And, so I think you started off really talking about kind of some of the specific efforts that TIP and Wayne State have, to target populations of students who are unfortunately, I think, underrepresented in post-secondary education, and particularly males of color. I think it's great that you guys are really invested in outreach to this population and identifying resources, because I think that's an issue that we, sometimes overlook as we, are kind of focused on getting, all students with experience in foster care into college.
Right.
Sometimes we forget that there might be some more systemic challenges to certain sectors of that population.
Yes.
And again, continuing this theme of partnership, how well you all have partnered with local organizations like Big Families of Michigan and Bravo to help, offset some of those additional, kind of financial needs that might come up, but also those things that, maybe can be addressed through kind of donation or in-kind support. And then, I think the last piece about transportation, and that's something that sometimes doesn't actually get factored into the cost of attendance, but
Exactly.
I think it's really an important part of the financial conversation for students, particularly as they're thinking, maybe where to live, and do they want to live on campus, or do they want to live further out, and that, the consideration of how much does it take to take the bus to have a car to park, to do all of those things, and
Exactly.
is that actually worth it, and so it sounds like you all do a really great job. You said, maximizing the state and federal financial benefits, but it also, I kind of was reading through the lines there that you guys spend a lot of time with your students, helping them understand really what all goes into the financial picture for them as they are at college, and helping them to be, as successful as they can, while also keeping that debt down.
Yes. Yes.
And that's, I think, a pretty significant piece of the college experiences. We always want to keep, the debt down, and for our students with experience in foster care, really hope that they can graduate with low or no debt when possible. So a lot of that financial literacy is just, it's huge, I think, to ongoing success.
Definitely, and I also. Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
oh no, go ahead. Yeah.
I can talk about that in the next segment. It's
Oh,
one other
okay.
thing I wanted to note. Okay.
Yeah, well, so our last slide is really 3 things that we should know about Wayne State and the TIP program, and this is kind of our opportunity for what we like to call a humble brag. So you can share whatever you want to share, and if you have more than 3 things, that is just fine. So I'll let you
Okay.
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I want to know, you spoke about the different collaborations that Tip Wayne State has with the community, but we also establish relationships with different communities within the university. And so we're part of what is called the Warrior VIP, where it's different groups that serve special populations on campus that are working together to promote and implement academic success for all students. And so Tip Wayne State is at the table. We're talking to different departments about the unique needs of foster youth. And so aside from just the whole scariness or the challenges that comes along with coming to college, there's other unique needs or barriers that foster youth encounter, and so we're trying to remove all of that. Any issues that's related to financial aid, we're trying to address. With housing, we've been able to establish relationships with the housing program that will allow foster youth to stay on campus throughout the summer when that option isn't available for the other student body, and so that's something we've been able to work out. And we're maintaining open communication with departments that students use the most, and so we're talking to advisors, we're talking to the financial aid department, and we're voicing our concerns and the concerns of the students to help to not only educate our university, but also empower our youth to speak out and do what's necessary on campus in order to ensure that they graduate in a timely manner. And so that's something that should be noted about Tip Wayne State. Another thing is that we try to find ways to do social events, but also use that as an empowering and uplifting thing. We Last summer we had oh, actually that was this summer, the Young Women's Empowered event, which was event that was targeted to young girls 16 to 21 who have foster care history, who been in the JJ system, who may have fallen victim to human trafficking and homelessness. And what we tried to do is create a safe place that we educate them, empower them on issues that they care about, such as beauty, identity, health, finance, and most importantly, education. And that event went so well that we will be hosting it again in summer of 2018. So stay tuned to tipwaynestate.org. We'll have more information about that. And so we just like to let people know that we exist prior to them even thinking about higher education, touching base while they're in the high school, and just empowering them to educate themselves, whether there is at Wayne or some other education institution. And so we like to support our youth in any way that we can. Another thing that you should know about Tip Wayne State in some of our initiatives and including other populations, as I talked about the boys and young men of color, we are at the beginning stages of creating a panel, no, I guess an advisory committee that will help to do strategic planning and also targeted outreach to those populations and finding out exactly what it is that we need to do in order to make college a realistic opportunity for boys and young men of color. And so we're hoping to partner with a few of local organizations, some people, some men in power who are involved in the child welfare system, whether they have history themselves or are one of the decision makers, and finding out what we need to do to better serve this population. And so that's something that we're greatly excited about at Tip Wayne State, and we're hoping to see that grow and expand our program to the best that it can possibly be.
Wow. Um, Again, I'm like, just a few things going on. And, I'm sort of listening to that and I'm like, when does Erica sleep? Okay. Um, and what I hear though is that you guys do a lot of this work in partnership with your students, and
Yes.
I think that really speaks to the authenticity of the work, and that it sounds like where you all focus and sort of move your energy is really driven by the needs that students are raising up to you.
Yes.
And I would just say, I think that speaks to the relationships that you really intentionally build with your students. So
Mhm.
bravo for building those relationships, and then also taking the next step to do things like partnering with other groups on campus, other departments on campus, so that you can both leverage resources but also effectively advocate for issues that your students are raising, and sort of work to find workarounds or kind of overcome barriers that your students are experiencing. I think the access to the year-round housing is a great example of partnerships that lead to really tangible outcomes that have just a significant impact on student success.
Right.
I love hearing about the social event that you talked about. And did that event have a name? I might have missed it as you were talking about it.
The Young Women's Empowered.
Young Women's Empowered. And
Yes.
so FSM, of course, talks a lot about using the 7 life domains, identity
Mhm.
being one of those domains that I think sometimes people maybe gloss over or kind of look at, from one dimension. But it's
Mhm.
wonderful to hear that you all are really creating a positive experience and a positive identity development space for young women even before they get to college, so
Yes.
helping them you know, feel strong in who they are, identify with a community with like experiences so that they don't feel isolated, and then also kind of showing them that path forward so that they really can see that despite, you know, what may have happened to them, those aren't things that define them or define their future. So
Yes, that's right.
hearing about that, I was like, I want to know more. I want to participate in that. That sounds
Oh,
amazing.
definitely. We will make sure that you are on the invite list and that you know the information as soon as it's developed. So yes, we'll keep you informed about that event.
Wonderful. Well, and we'll
Oh, can I
definitely, of
add one
course,
more
yeah.
thing? I'm
Oh, yeah,
sorry. Okay, one
absolutely.
last thing. I just wanted to know, we do our targeted outreach to youth while they're in high school, and one of the ways that we try to do so was with our summer youth employment program. Well, we're in the upcoming summer, we're doing away with that program, but we are partnering with the TRIO programs and the Upward Bound program to start a cohort of foster care youth that can participate in that program. And so
Wonderful.
what we're hoping to do is build more of the academic skills for the youth prior to them coming to college. That way they're better prepared and can successfully progress through their classes, and then we'll work on employment at a later stage towards the latter part of their educational career. So that's something that should be rolling out as early as fall of this year.
Wow. You know, I think that that's just another great, you know, kind of example of partnership and leveraging resources. TRIO programs are exceptionally valuable for a wide variety of students, and
Mhm.
many people are not aware that students with experience in foster care fall under that TRIO mandate as a population of students that can be served. And so leveraging that, leveraging programs like Upward Bound that already have such a fantastic track record,
Yes,
to me, it, you know, it speaks to the overall commitment from, you know, an institution and a program level to ensure that students are college ready when they get in the door and set up for success as much as possible. And
yes,
I have no doubt that you know, the benefits of that students will experience that program are just going to be wonderful to kind of see, and the opportunity to not just sort of do outreach in a pre-college arena, but really engage with students in that pre-college arena. I have no doubt that that will set students up for greater success. So thank you
yes,
for
and we're excited and looking forward to it.
yeah, and so if students are maybe interested in getting involved with that, I'm imagining that that would be targeted towards students in the Wayne County area. Um, is there a way that they might learn more if they're interested?
Yes, you would be able to contact either Megan or myself at Tip Wayne State. We should have information that will roll out on our website in the upcoming months, and we'll also be sure to let FSM and other higher education consortiums let them know, because we don't want to exclude any of the other surrounding counties if someone is interested, but we want to make sure that transportation isn't going to be a barrier, and so we will be looking at the Tri-County area around Wayne State, which is Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb County. But we will consider other students from other counties as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And
No
um,
problem.
really, thank you so much for being on the webinar today. All of this information, you know, I know for me has really just expanded my understanding of what your program has offered. It also makes me excited to go back to Wayne State and see if I can find somebody in the Hammock Club, as well as, you know, just see your students in action, you know, being students, and also taking advantage of just really the excellent resources and the just very close-knit community that it sounds like is really developed and waiting for students to join. So um,
Exactly.
you know, for folks who have additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Erica or reach out to Megan. We have Erica's information on the screen here. We know that there's lots of different situations, lots of maybe specific or unique questions, and we always encourage folks to go straight to the source, to talk to the campus coaches, to talk to the program directors, to learn more and just understand that, you know, all of these programs are really willing to do everything that they can to help students on their road to success.
Yes, definitely.
And yeah, thank you so much again, Erica. And with that,
And thank you, Maddie.
yeah, you're welcome. I just wanted to highlight we have a few resources through FSM that we always like to remind folks about. We have our FSM Higher Education Resource Guide that features brief profiles of all of our campus-based support programs. You can find out more about the FSM Higher Education Consortium on our website on fosteringsuccessmichigan.com. And of course, our Higher Education Consortium has a Facebook page. They are very social. And then if you're interested in learning more about Wayne State and the Transition to Independence program, you can see their websites here. And again, as Erica said earlier, please stay tuned to the tipwaynestate.org website to learn more about their programs and ongoing events. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to having you join us on the next webinar. Take care.